Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Joseph Cavara. I'm the president of Educational Travel Service. You probably know me because I spent 33 years of my life with Costa Cruise Lines as a vice president of sales and marketing based in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. I spent my time with you travel agents for so many years, teaching you how to sail cruises and teaching you how to make money. About 2 years ago, my family moved to Orlando, and we were looking for a church in Orlando. And being Catholic, so we went to a Catholic church, and we really were not really pleased with the services and things like that. So a friend of mine told me, "Hey, listen, why don't you go down to this church which is down the street? It's a Baptist church." So the first reaction was, "You got to be kidding me! I'm Catholic. We're going to go to a Baptist church." So my family went to the Baptist church, and we really were excited about the message that the pastors had. And during the sermon, they gave us a piece of paper to fill out because we were the first time people that went on the church. 3 days later, my wife got a phone call from the pastor from this particular church in Windermere, and so she was talking to him about the services. She was talking about why we moved to Orlando and so far and so on. And that day, I just happened to be home. So my wife says, "Listen, why don't you talk to this pastor because he wants to know also what you do." So I got on the phone with the pastor, and I told him, "Listen, I'm working with the Educational Travel Service, and we do a lot of Holy Land trips. And by the way, Pastor, have you ever been to the Holy Land?" And the answer was no. And so, as an Italian, I always make fun of some of these things. And I said, "Shame on you. How can you preach the Bible without being or have gone to the Holy Land?" So he was laughing on the other side of the phone. So he says, "Listen, Joseph, why don't we get together tomorrow? Let's talk about this." Anyway, make a long story short, we met for lunch the following day, and we put a program together for the Holy Land. And he actually produced about 34, 35 people 4 or 5 months later. Let me tell you exactly what happened. The pastor have never been to the Holy Land. As soon as he landed back from Tel Aviv, he picked up the phone and called me, and he says, "You know what? I don't understand why it took me 20 years to go to the Holy Land. It was the best experience that I ever had, and also the members of my church that went with me." 3 days later, he called me and he says, "You won't believe this." He says, "About 4 agencies that are member of the church came over. They were really upset that I used the Educational Travel Service to go to the Holy Land." And what I told him? He says, "Well, how long have you been part of this church?" And a lot of them said, "Well, 5, 6, or 7 years." And they said, "Well, why didn't you ever suggested that I should go to the Holy Land?" So I want you to know one thing, that everyone belongs to a church. Everyone belongs to, knows the pastor of these particular churches. And I wonder how many of you actually has ever talked to a pastor about doing a program, a faith-based travel, or a group to the Holy Land. Mm-hmm. This is the message today. The message today is that if you take a survey right now and you say, "Okay, how many of you belong to a church?" 99% of the people will raise their hands. Mm-hmm. If I ask you, how many people know the pastor? 99% of you will raise their hands. But if I ask you, have you ever talked to a pastor about doing a program to the Holy Land or a marriage retreat or whatever, probably 3 or 4 of you will raise their hands. That's what I'm talking about. So you have this incredible business in front of you, but unfortunately, either you don't know anything about it, or you're scared to talk to a pastor because you don't know that much about the program. But I think that would be something interesting for you to start doing in the next in the future, because it's really a big business. I'm here with Elisa Garibaldi, my director of sales, and also Paul Halley, which is my director of marketing. And so they're going to be talking to you about how to approach the churches, how to sell these incredible programs in the future, and how to make some serious money. Okay? Here we go. Elisa, go
Thanks,
take it
Joseph.
after.
It's really crazy that he said that we started here 6 years ago because I shortly started after Joseph, and he's the one that got me this job here. It's been definitely a whirlwind, and Paul started shortly after me. So we've all been here about 5 or 6 years, and I feel like we do so well here at ETS because we all have a serious passion for the Holy Land as well as all of our different types of programs. But for myself, when I went to the Holy Land about 5 years ago, I went for about a month and a half to Israel, Egypt, and Jordan, and it completely changed my life. And ever since then, I conduct a Bible study on Thursdays with other single women. Mine and my husband's life had changed. Everybody in my family's life has changed when my sister and I actually traveled about 5 years ago. And I love to tell that story. And I also love to tell that story to the pastors if you ever get me in on a conference call between you, me, and the pastor, because we want to help you. We want to help aid in your sale. One of the great things about ETS and Paul, Joseph, and I is that we're here to help all of you guys to be successful, because if you're successful, so are we. And so, we definitely want your business. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about ETS, give you the meat and potatoes on how to sell it. And then we're also going to have a follow-up webinar about all of product knowledge that we'd love for you guys to listen in on October 15th at the same time. But today we're really going to give you the meat and potatoes as to how to sell, how to get the lead, and how to close the sale, and some marketing products and stuff like that. So the first thing that I want you guys to know is, who is ETS? We are the leaders in faith-based travel. We bring over 10,000 people a year to the Holy Land. We're the #1 tour operators of Christian travel in Israel. We bring about 5,000 people on our faith-based cruises. I bet you guys didn't even know we do Bible Land cruises or faith-based cruises, women's retreats, missions cruises, marriage retreats. So we do all of this, and I'm going to go into that in a little bit. Also, we were founded by a Methodist pastor, and about 41 years ago. And why this is so important is, when you're talking with the clergymen, they know that they're dealing with a Christian company. They know that we have all of our programs are on a Christian emphasis. We have Christian tour guides, Christian bus drivers, and we're here definitely to make an entire Christian experience on each one of these programs. And again, we've been in business for about 40 years. We've been taking people to Israel for the past 40 years. And the reason why we started branching off into Christian Europe and Bible Land cruises and faith-based cruises is because people were going to Israel over and over again. But as you know, like, baby boomers started to retire. Clientele started wanting to go on leisure cruises and go into all of these different sites, the journeys of Paul, following in the footsteps of the Apostle Paul, of the Apostle John, following in the footsteps of Jesus, but they didn't want to necessarily go on a land program. So we started branching off into Mediterranean cruises and taking people on the journeys of Paul all throughout there, while you're relaxing and floating on a boat with having a lecturer on board, some included shore excursions. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So ETS is not just the #1 tour providers of Christian travel in Israel any longer. We have tons and tons of programs that I'm going to get to in a little bit that can be all your #1 sellers. And also, we want you guys to know that we always offer on every single one of our programs 1 for 10 TCs to really hook that pastor, and 15% commission. That 1 for 10 TCs is so important for you to hook that pastor. When we were originally founded by the Methodist pastor about 40 years ago, and he had traveled to the Holy Land, he really felt as if the Lord had placed on his heart to start a company to allow pastors to travel for either free or a discounted rate. And that's what we were founded on. So those TCs are incredibly important. So now that you have a little bit of information on ETS so that you can go out there and talk about us, I want to talk to you guys about how to get the lead and how to get the meeting. So the very first one is how to generate the lead. How do you actually get these pastors, the priests, the deacons, the clergymen? I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. So do any of you guys know a pastor or a pastor's wife? You don't even necessarily have to know a pastor or a pastor's wife. You can know someone within your church, within a family member, an acquaintance, a friend. And I'm sure if I've spoken to any of you guys over the phone, I do always like to tell my story of my sister that traveled with me to the Holy Land. She is incredibly involved within her church. I live about 30 minutes away from her. And she's involved in her church with the youth ministry, which is also run up by the pastor's wife. So she didn't talk directly to the pastor. She talked talk to the pastor's wife, which of course everyone knows, happy wife, happy life. So we were able to get a meeting with her, and she was able to bring a group over to the Holy Land. That was incredibly successful. I didn't need to know the pastor or the pastor's wife. I looked through my family and friends and acquaintances. Also, the director of communications here in the office is also the director of marketing at my church, and he was able to get a meeting with the pastor, and they just had 25 people go to the Holy Land in April. So while I didn't know a pastor or a pastor's wife myself, I was able to get meetings through people that I know. It's not, you don't just have to know the clergyman, or you don't just have to know the priest or the deacon or the worship leader or the Sunday school teacher. You can ask the people around you for that. We also have a Share the Ministry program, if you guys wanted to look on our website, where we offer a $500 travel ministry bonus. If you have someone like a friend or an acquaintance that can get you a meeting with the pastor or the pastor's wife, we have $500 that we can give over to this person that was able to get you the lead if you produce a group. You can contact us directly for more information about that. But again, we as ETS are here to invest in you and help you guys become incredibly successful agents within this billion-dollar industry of faith-based travel and this niche market. So also, after you're able to kind of look through your resources, what you do need to, and possibly get a meeting, is you need to know that clergymen are incredibly busy. Clergymen, pastors, priests, deacons, they're being constantly offered things. Joseph and I actually went to a meeting, and I think we found out that one of the priests within our local churches was offered a Kia Soul at one time. Because obviously, if the priest is driving the Kia Soul, then that's free advertisement for the rest of their parish. So why they don't want to just have a cold call, or they don't want to just have a cold envelope or a sales kit be sent to them. They want to know someone. And so that's why we're here to teach you how to get in and speak to them. And once you're able to get that meeting, that 15-minute meeting or that 15-minute conference call, we're going to give you the information on what you need to bring to the meeting. And so Paul's going to talk to you a little bit about that, and then I'll be back to talk to you guys about products.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Paul Holly, the Director of Marketing with ETS. So after you've done the difficult part, which is the part we cannot do for you, going to your pastor, going to your friends that are involved in their church, getting a meeting with the pastor, just data mining your network is really what you need to do to find out who is involved in their church and who can get you the meeting. After you've done that part, everything else we're going to walk you through. This is going to be the easy part for you. So get in contact with us. We can also help coach you through different denominations have different things they need that you need to offer to them. So we can coach you on that, what the verbiage is to use for a Catholic group versus a Presbyterian group. What are the better tours for different denominations? So please give us a call even before you talk to a pastor, just so we can help you in case you go in there just expecting to get a future meeting and then they want to delve further. And during the meetings, we are happy to do conference calls with you as well. Like she said, almost daily, Elissa and I are on the phone with an agent and a pastor in a meeting. We can talk about the safety in the Holy Land. If you've never been there, that's obviously a good question. And all the questions the pastors may have that you don't know, we're happy to talk. So once you get the meeting, make sure to bring your sales kit. Your faith-based sales kit, we're more than happy to send you as many as you need. You open it up, it's going to have your faith-based travel guide, which looks like this. It's full color, and all the prices in here already include your TCs and your 15% commission, but nowhere in here does it mention 15% commission or TCs. So therefore, this is pastor friendly. You can give this to the pastor, have him look through it, choose a trip. We also give you a sheet that tells you the benefits for a pastor traveling that you can give to him, and it says things like it's going to increase your ability to preach, so your sermons are going to be strengthened. This is a place they always dream about going to. So the pastors will be renewed when they go. They come closer with their congregation. The kind of benefits you need to tell them is that when people go with them, they increase their tithing, they give to the church more, they volunteer at the church more, they're more involved in their church. And those are the things that the pastor needs to hear. We always say, you don't go to a pastor and say, hey, do you want to raise some money for the church? Do a tour. That's what most of them, not what they're going to go for. They want to go to help strengthen the congregation and the community within the church. Those are added benefits. If they ask you, of course, we can always customize a trip and add fundraising, but that's not how you go to a pastor and approach him. And then you're going to talk to the pastor about the roles. After you talk to him about the benefits for the church and the pastor, then the roles. So as an agent, you're going to be the one collecting all the registrations, answering all the questions, doing the marketing for them. Basically, you want to tell them their only responsibility is to get excited about the trip, to tell people about the trip, and that's going to be what gets people involved. They're not going to go on a Holy Land trip just to go. We get very few people who just go on a Holy Land trip with someone they don't know. If their pastor goes, then they go and they get excited about it, and then the group just builds from there. So you need to make sure the pastor knows his only role is to get excited about the trip and to promote it. Lastly, in closing the sale, so after you've got the pastor excited about what it's going to do for the church, you've told him that all he has to do is get excited about the trip, and he's going to travel for free. And if he gets enough, then his wife can travel with him. Then lastly, you want to have dates and itineraries to suggest to him. So you talk to us, we're going to tell you for different tours what's the best time to go for weather, what's the best time to go for air prices. There's better times, if it's a Catholic group versus a Protestant group. You talk to us, we'll let you know. That way, in your meeting, you can suggest a date and itinerary to the pastor. That is going to be the most important thing into getting to the next step. Once you have a date and itinerary set, we can make your brochures for you. We can make a website for you. We can make posters. Any kind of marketing materials we're happy to provide you with. Bulletin inserts. So get a date set and get an itinerary, and then you're good to go. I'm going to pass it back over to Elissa, and she's going to talk to you about the different programs we offer, from Holy Land to Bible Land Cruises.
Hey everybody, welcome back to, of course, the person you prefer, Elissa. Just kidding, Paul, you did great. So I wanted to talk to you guys about all of our different programs, starting off with obviously the Holy Land. Again, we're the #1 tour providers of Christian travel in Israel. And just like Joseph mentioned, that 90% of you guys would raise your hand if you go to church. The other 90 would say, yes, you know a pastor. And then only 3% of you guys would raise your hand if you've actually approached the pastor. The secret is that only 2% of pastors have actually been to the Holy Land, which leaves you guys a 98% market out there to just simply go and ask your pastor if they've ever been to the Holy Land. If you're not doing it, I can almost guarantee that there's another travel agent within your congregation that's asking them. So what do you have to lose besides a group of 40 or more where you're making $15,000 to $20,000? So again, we're going to go over on October 15th at 3 p.m. We're going to do another webinar about our product knowledge. We'd love for all of you guys to attend, where I go over the day-to-day itinerary, because it's a little bit hard to sell the Holy Land and talk about all the different hotels and the safety of it unless you've actually been, which is of course what we're here to do. Get us in on a conference call between you, me, and the lead so I can help aid in your sale. But of course, the Holy Land is our #1 top seller, and the secret is that every pastor wants to go to the Holy Land. And just like Joseph said that he was able to, with his Italian accent, say shame on you that you've never been to the Holy Land. But how is it that a pastor or a priest or a deacon can actually talk about it every Sunday or while they're doing Mass? How can they talk about where Jesus walked if they haven't geographically walked this site, or if they haven't actually gone over and seen that Israel is only 200 miles long? When you think of, the Palm Sunday walk, I think that he was walking in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights. But really the Palm Sunday walk is only, a very short distance of a couple miles. So it's really important for a pastor or a priest or a clergyman to actually get over to the Holy Land. So this is a secret that they all want to go, and you guys can offer this life-changing destination to them by simply approaching them and asking them if they've ever been, or if they wanted to start a travel ministry, or if they wanted to change the lives of the people in their congregation by going to the Holy Land. We have a ton of guaranteed, what we call guaranteed or standard departures. This is going to be in your travel guide, and you guys can request a travel guide on our website, or you guys can request to become an agent on our website and receive a free faith-based sales kit. Within our travel guide, we have all of our standard and guaranteed departures. What that means is we have a bunch of different churches that are already populating these specific tours, so that you don't have to necessarily come up with an entire group of 25 people in order to in order to make the group run. So we've already got all of these guaranteed departure dates that you maybe only have to get 1 or 2 people into. But of course, the pastors like to bring their own group. They like to bring their own bus, which is a group of 20 to 25 people. So while we have our guaranteed and standard departure dates, you guys can also piggyback off of those. So say if we've got a group going on November 19th, 2016, you guys can try to get your own group and your own bus, and should you not be able to get that, should you only get 10 or 15 people, your group can actually join on with our already pre-existing group, so that you don't lose the commission, and those people also get to go and walk in the footsteps of Jesus without having produced an entire group. And that's really important when you're just starting off with selling. And I can almost guarantee that if once you've started off with selling, and you have these pastors and priests that are coming back to you to do more tours, you've got the groups already in the bag, and you're definitely going to be producing entire groups rather than just 10 or 12 people. And while 50% of our business is guaranteed or standard departures, we've got another 50% which is customized departures. And remember that we are the tour operators, so while we include 15% commission and 1 for 10 TCs in all of our programs, you can name your price with us. We can do a net rate for you. We can build in 10% commission, 5%. We could do 1 for 5 TCs. Anything that you need us to do, we can customize just about anything. We can also do fundraising. If your church, if your priest needed to help fund new computers within the church's elementary school, we can definitely help fund that, build a couple $100 maybe into the program. So ask us about this. There's definitely numerous ways that we can fit fundraising into all of our programs. All you have to do is pick up the phone and give us a call. So as we move on from the Holy Land, and again on October 15th at our next webinar, I'm going to go over the entire itinerary. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Bible Land Cruises. And again, I bet none of you guys knew that we even had Bible Land Cruises, but we send 5,000 people a year on all of our Bible Land Cruises. We are the top producers of Christian travel on cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Azamara, Celebrity, NCL, Costa, AMA Waterways. We've got plaques in here. We've got big executives coming in, buying us all lunch, patting us on the back for being their #1 producers. And we can help you guys where we already have the group allotment. You guys don't have to put the money up. So definitely come travel with us. But what is a Bible Land Cruise? Just a quick overview of it. We basically take a biblical itinerary, like following in the footsteps of Paul, going to Greece, Turkey, Italy, the Holy Land, and Egypt. And we are going to fill those with included shore excursions with our own tour guides, our own bus drivers, and also we're going to have hospitality staff on board that are going to help everybody get from the ship over to our buses. We're also going to have a lecturer on board, and we're going to have speakers and different events and create a really amazing Christian experience on board. So no, we're not going to shut down the casinos, or we're not going to shut down the bars, but we're going to give your Christian passengers a bunch of different Christian events that they can attend, so that they don't have to necessarily go into the places in the ship that they don't want to. So that's a little bit about our Bible Land Cruises in the Mediterranean. Now I'm going to go on to our women's retreats and marriage retreats, and this is what we call our faith-based cruises. And a faith-based cruise can go anywhere. It can go to Alaska. It can go to the Caribbean. You can also do ones that are going into Spain and in different places in the Mediterranean. But basically, our top sellers right now are our marriage retreats and our women's retreats. In the very first quarter next year, we have almost 500 people going on our women's retreats. This is an idea that Joseph came up with about 2 years ago, and look at how many people we have. So, and I like to tell a story that I do have a Bible study at my house every Thursdays with single women. We've been doing this for about 3 years, and I would be the perfect person that you guys could approach, because I lead it on Thursdays. I could create personalized brochures, pass it out to the 15 women that come to my house for the past 3 years. You can only imagine what a close-knit group that we are. So while I'm not a spiritual leader, or I'm not a pastor or a priest, I am a leader within my own Bible study, my own women's group. So I'm a different avenue that you could try to approach. And on those, we're going to take, different, on the women's retreat, we're going to take different lecturers. And actually, we have a women's retreat where we have Babby Mason on board. If you guys have ever heard of her, she's an award-winning gospel singer. I listen to the modern Christian music, and she's definitely all over those. So she's a really great value add on one of our programs. So this is just another idea that I'm throwing at you guys, that you guys could approach different people within the church. And next, we, of course, offer Christian Europe, and we follow in the footsteps of all the major leaders that have changed all the different denominations in the Protestant group of denominations, like following in the footsteps of John Wesley for the Methodist group in England, following in the footsteps the Reformation tour in Martin Luther. And did any of you guys know, if you're Lutherans, that the 500th anniversary of the Reformation of Martin Luther is 2016 and 2017? We're getting numerous requests for our Reformation tour. We also have a river cruise that is also following in the footsteps of Martin Luther. And we've got a Bible Land cruise as well. So come and check out all of our different products for you guys to possibly go out denominationally to the different churches. We do Lords in Fatima and Medjugorje and Italy and Ireland and Germany, just to name a few. And the reason why I talked about the different denominations is because that's a really great selling point. The Catholics, a recent study came out about the Catholic denomination, that they're the top denomination that travels. So go after those priests and deacons and offer them to to look at all the shrines within Lourdes and Fatima, or in Medjugorje, or going into Rome and seeing the Vatican. So these are really incredible sites that the Catholics like to go on to. So, and again, just to reiterate, we offer 1 for 10 TCs and 15% commission on all of our programs. And so on a typical group on our Holy Land tour, a typical group of 30 people, that is $15,000 of commission. You definitely can't make $15,000 commission sending onesies and twosies on your typical Caribbean cruises. We want to help you guys work the same amount that you would on 2 individuals for an entire group of 30. And again, we are here to help aid you in the sale. You definitely want to utilize us. We need you guys to be successful for us to be successful. I make personal phone calls to all of you agents, helping you guys get the leads, what to do during the meeting. I'll go over all of this with you. We can provide so many marketing materials, promotional materials to help you guys aid in that sale. So we definitely want you guys to utilize us there. And also, so just a little bit of ending, kind of, not to recap per se, but we do have a bunch of FAM opportunities that we'd love for you guys to come travel with us on, especially to the Holy Land. The Holy Land is an incredibly easy sell if you've been to the Holy Land. And we know that a bunch of different travel companies or tour operators offer FAM trips left and right, trying to get people on it. While we don't make any money on our FAM trips, we have to offer it so that you guys can go and experience it, so that you can sell it. Because it's incredibly hard to sell this particular area of the world unless you can come back and say how peaceful you felt, how safe you felt when you were there, how incredible it was, what a great experience it was. And until you get there, of course, I'll be in on the conference call to help you guys, between you, me, and the lead, because I have been there several times. So again, you want to utilize us. But if you can't make it on one of our FAM trips, but also on the FAM trip, if you bring a group back within 1 year, if you bring a group of 25 people, you get a half refund. And if you bring a group of 40 people or more, we offer you a full refund on the FAM. We are investing in you agents to get onto one of these programs to help you guys sell. How many tour operators would offer you guys a free refund on the program if you bring a group back? So again, we're here to invest in you guys. And if you can't necessarily make it to Israel, we'd love for you guys to join us on our seminar at sea. We're going on the Celebrity Constellation on March 5th. I'm sure that I'll be there attending it if Joseph wants me to go. And I'm going to teach you guys again and get one-on-one on how to get in, how to speak to the clergy, talk about more of the product knowledge. I could go over the day-to-day itinerary of the Holy Land and make you guys feel completely comfortable with talking about the Holy Land. So we would love to see you guys either on the seminar at sea or on one of our FAM trips. And please go to our website, at www.etsagents.com to register to become an ETS agent with us. We'd love to send you out a sales kit. I'll make a personal phone call to each and every one of you guys and help you guys, getting that lead and getting you guys some information. So that about wraps it up for me. We want to do the Holy Land drawing, and then we're going to open it up for questions. Paul's over there busy writing down all your questions from the chat room.
Can I say something?
So, yeah, Joseph is going to do the Holy Land drawing, and he's going to do our closing for us. So we're going to open it up, and this is not rigged. So you guys are going to see it right in front of your faces that this is not rigged. So Joseph's going to do the first number.
Before we close.
Sorry.
There are a couple of things that I want to tell you about. During the past years where I was working with Costa Cruise Lines and obviously in sales, the biggest issue that agents have, they're always afraid, to ask for the business. That's what the problem is. So right now you probably said to yourself, how do I go to a pastor? How do I ask for the business? It's very simple. You just go there and you say, Pastor, I'm a member of this church. Have you ever been to the Holy Land? And probably 90% of the time they're going to say no. And that's how you approach that conversation, okay? So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to be rejected because, most of us have been rejected once or twice or three times. But the fourth time something will happen, and then contact friends of your families and so on and so on. See if they're a member of different churches, and then see if you can communicate with them. One thing that Elisa was talking about is really working very well, with us is that we don't know everything. I mean, sometimes even I'm afraid talking about the Holy Land, but the beautiful program that we have now is where you can set up a conference call where you have the pastor on one side, you're going to be on the other line, and then Elisa or myself or Paul are going to be on the other line talking to the pastor about the programs that he wants to do for the Holy Land. We are there to answer all the questions, put the whole itinerary together, and then what happens is you learn on one side, and then you collect the commissions and everything, all the benefits that come with it. So please do not be afraid. Let me give you an example of something that happened. I just came back from a cruise, a 4-day cruise, and it was a women's retreat. And so what happened is that a lot of churches have these women's retreat and marriage retreats, men's retreats, and they do it in an hotel. So we approached a church that was doing these retreats, and they were paying hotels a lot of money. And then with booking hotels, there was always an issue. Well, what do you want to eat? What do you don't want to eat? Do you like fish? Do you like chicken? And the entertainment and so on and so on. So then we proposed it, and we said, listen, it's easier for you to move these programs, these women's cruises or retreats or whatever, into a ship because you don't have to worry about it anymore. The only thing you got to do just book the passengers, and then we set up all the meeting spaces for the ship, and that's it. We had 98 people just came back last week from a cruise, and it was absolutely fantastic. So think about that, and think about how you can go to the church and to convince them to move some of these things from one place to another where you can actually make a lot of money. Missions is another thing that is very, very strong. You say missions. So what we did is we actually approached the pastors, and we telling them, I know that you have missions to Africa, you have a mission to South America, mission to Latin America, and so on and so on. And we said, listen, a lot of people from the Caribbean are also in need, and also it's very, very less expensive. So what we're doing now is also doing missions where every port that we go to, we line ourselves up with a church, and all the people that go on the mission bring Bibles, pencils, pens, books for the kids in the church, and we charter a bus from the cruise line. We'll go direct to the church, spend the whole day there, do some services, and spend time with the children. So these are some of the ideas that we have. And when we're talking about Holy Land, like Elisa was talking about, we already working for 2017. We just booked 300-400 cabins on 3 or 4 different cruise lines, basically celebrity, because they are the only ones right now. They go to the Holy Land, and and we already have net rates from them. So we do this 1.5 or 2 years in advance. So we get a lot of great prizes, and that's the reason why we are able to offer these programs at a very good rate. So here's the thing: we want your business. Period. We want your business. At the same time, though, We want to teach you how to get the business. Okay, I don't want to be one of the salespeople that says, well, I want your business, but you're not going to tell me how to get it. And that's what the problem is. Some of the salespeople come in to talk to you and say, hey, when are you going to give me the business? And then the answer was, listen, if I had it, I will give it to you. So we are doing the opposite. We're telling you, here's how to get the business. Here's where you're going to go and find the pastors. Here's how you talk to the pastors. Here's the tools that you have in order for you to do that. Okay? So we definitely, want to teach you. We want you to make money, because the bottom line is we all want to make money, right? So at the same time, though, I want the pastor to come back to you and say, hey, it was the best program that I had. It was the best cruise that I had, or the best trip that I had to the Holy Land. So give us a call, talk to us, ask us questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. We are here to help you, and we are here for you to make some serious money, okay? One thing about the Reformation cruises for 2016 and 17, we already chartered a couple of the AMA Waterways ships, and some of them already listed in the travel planner. And also, we just signed a deal for 2017 in May, and also for November. So we talked about a lot of different things. I know you have a lot of stuff to think about. I think that the next webinar that Elisa and Paul are going to have in October, they will really go into details on how to sell these different programs and all the contents of the program. Today was like something like we want to get to know you. We want you to get to know who we are, who's behind these brochures, who's behind this faith-based travel, and we want you to rely on us and give us a call and register online so that you can get the packets that has a lot of information for you, okay? So I want to thank you for being with us today, to spending 45 minutes online. And so why don't we,
Okay, so this
how
is
does
not
it work?
right. So you have to pick out one number. We have a huge list of all of you agents. We've got like 400 and something people that registered. So you have to be here, or we're going to call your name, and then we're going to give you an email address. You got to prove that you were here. So he is going to pick out the number. There's a number associated with all of the people. It is a free Holy Land package for 2 people. It doesn't include the air. You've got to buy the air on your own. But this is a free land package to our Holy Land fam trip for 2 people. And so we're going to start off with the first number. Okay, 0. Okay.
What's a 0?
Well, that's going to be the first number. It's 1 through like 400 and something.
Okay. So I have to pick another number?
You do.
Okay, all right.
You got to pick another number.
All right, pick another number. Yeah, number 2.
Okay, so this is either 20 something.
Okay. 5.
Okay, so number 25, the 25th person to register for our webinar is Paul.
Miss Brandy Bell of American Travel Bureau.
Brandy Bell of American Travel Bureau. So you have to email us at ets@travelwithus.com. Again, that was Brandy Bell. You've got to be here, so you've got to email us in order to get that. And again, it was a land package for 2 people. And we thank you guys all for coming and stopping by this webinar. We'd love for you guys to come and attend the October 15th about the actual product knowledge. But we hope that you guys now feel a little bit more comfortable on going and approaching a clergyman or a women's retreat leader or someone out there within the Christian I don't even know the word for that, the Christian world, in order to get them to come on one of these programs. So it's all of these programs are life-changing. Their faith will become concrete. You're providing these life-changing experiences while also making some really great money. Again, we want your business. We're here to help you. Contact any one of us. Go and register to become an agent at www.ETSagents.com. And we look forward to hearing back from each and every one of you guys. So see you later.
Bye-bye.